Hello and welcome or welcome back. My name is V and today here with me is Neon Genesis, who you might know from my channel if you're not here for the first time, and or why are you here for the first time? I'm just kidding. Just subscribe to the channel if you if you happen to be new. Anyhow, today we are going to watch something that I believe is going to be very, very helpful for Neon as we are currently going through World of Warcraft for him for the first time and for me for the first time for many, many years. And we have just reached the point where we've completed a couple of those vanilla WoW zones, and we are somewhat ready to take the first quest to go into the Burning Crusade, which is still not an optimal experience if you want to experience the entirety of Azeroth before Burning Crusade, but we decided to do the expansion stories one by one, and in order to have a new player less confused, I suggested maybe we should watch the cinematics in order. Now, in front of me, I have every World of Warcraft official cinematic remaster in 4K 48 frames per second by Snazzy AI, who actually has kindly remastered all of cinematics. And I've chosen this one because it actually just looks really, really nice. And these official cinematics they are original, but they're also quite old. And I think that in this way, you might actually have a little bit of a better experience watching these remastered cinematics. This all looks like very few cinematics, but also this was 20 years ago. So there wasn't this popular culture of creating a bunch cinematics for players to hype them up for the game or whatever. Everyone was already hyped for WoW. They didn't have to make 5 different cinematics to try and sell the game, as it was already selling. So we have what we have. I'm currently at a 10-second mark, so if you want to get there as well, or if you have some questions or want to say something, feel free to jump in.
I just will say, I'm not. I'm going into WoW completely open-minded. Like I'm not. Like I come from a Final Fantasy 14 background. For those who have never met me before, and so I'm not comparing this to. I mean, I'm gonna have some comparisons and some thoughts to. Oh, okay, 14 does it like this. WoW does it like this. But I'm also going in open-minded. I'm not expecting top tier, FMVs or graphics or anything, because at the end of the day, my MMO experience before that was playing FF11, which, yes, it had some cinematics, but they were nothing amazing anyway. So, and I'm very, very well aware of how old WoW is, so I'm kind of excited to see what it was like back then, and I'm just kind of embracing it and having fun with it all. So, but yeah, hoping to enjoy.
All right, awesome. I'm excited to watch this with you. I'm itching to watch these cinematics again. They're full of nostalgia for me, and I just kind of want to remind myself of it now that I'm also going through these starting zones with you. Well, are you ready?
When you're ready, then.
All right.
4 years have passed since the mortal races banded together and stood united against the might of the Burning Legion. Though Azeroth was saved, the tenuous pact between the Horde and the Alliance has all but evaporated. The drums of war thunder once again.
Not gonna lie, I think this is sick already. I love how they made it a proper. Oh, okay.
So this is Ironforge, the home of the dwarves. This is Night Out.
I appreciate you actually telling me, just in case I wasn't sure. So is this in the zone that we've just been in? Oh, cool.
Druid, yep.
Yeah, Druid, yeah.
And this is the Horde. Warbox.
Oh, okay. So, is that
That's an inferno.
Okay. Oh, is that a Tauren? Yeah. Okay. Oh. Oh.
Mage.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, it's so cool.
right? It's
I actually, yeah, I just want to, I'm going to straight off because I've got things I want to say already, but straight off the bat, I just want to say V was like, oh, we didn't have like graphics and everything. That was cool. I thought it was really, really good. Did they say 4 races or did they say 4? Yeah, they said 4 races, didn't they?
it said they said
The
4
beginning.
years have passed since the I guess since the united efforts against the Burning Legion. And Burning Legion is like, let's call it a common enemy.
Okay.
And basically what they said was that the Horde and the Alliance kind of came together and that they were fighting that together, which sometimes they do when there's like a common enemy. But that peace that they brokered, it was too fragile and the war started to happen again. So this is kind of where you jump into the story. And the books and the actual lore, they go before that. They explain what this was, how, Horde and the Alliance came to be in the first place, why it came to be, how they, at some points of time, they had peace and why they stopped having peace and whatnot. So you'll notice that these first couple of expansions are very warlike. So the war between the factions is something that is a very, very strong theme. And it was back in the day, we didn't even have this war mode in the game where you can turn off PvP. It was just unthinkable for you to not be able to be killed as you're outside in the open world. So it was a big part of the game. PvP, like outdoor PvP, was a thing and you couldn't turn it off. And yes, it kind of hindered you from questing and whatnot. But at the same time, if you had this bit of loyalty for your faction and you knew that you can't just, that if you want a quest, you somehow have to fight your way around to actually be doing these quests. And what I really like about the cinematic is that it showed these very core, very basic races of both Horde and the Alliance before they started adding new races and introducing new stories. Because nowadays in the game, you can play a whole lot of things, but these are like the original races that were basically the core members of the Alliance and the Horde. So this cinematic with its music, with the zones that it shows, and this very clear conflict between Alliance and Horde, I think is just a masterpiece. And this cinematic is beloved by so many. It's like as soon as you see that snow and Ironforge and everything, you already know. There's a lot of complaints from people who don't play World of Warcraft that this looks nothing like WoW, that basically you see this movie and that like it gets you to buy the game or whatever, and then you go around and you're just like, okay, so these are like pixels in comparison. WoW just does this. They just make these movies that look the way they do, but
But like, so I thought they said the 4 races, and I thought they were showing us them: the Orc, the Tauren, obviously the humans, and Night Elves.
I actually didn't catch that.
I thought that was right at the beginning, but I might be wrong. And I'm kind of like looking at.
I know they said it at the beginning. I know because I know this text. They said the 4 years have passed since the reunited efforts against the Burning Legion or whatever. That's the only time that I ever hear the cinematic, so I'm not sure. But I never really like count them. What's important here is that we have these core races that were initially a part of the Alliance and the Horde, but other races kind of kept joining and leaving. And joining and leaving and whatnot. And there are some that even kind of, I don't want to give any spoilers but I think that the best way to describe it would be some of the races just kind of at first they were undecided between the two, and then something would happen
So
because
somewhere neutral.
yes, because one of the races or one of the factions actually would show kindness or would not put them in debt literally, but would do something to make them be like, okay, so these guys at least helped me somewhat. So, we kind of owe it to them. So that's kind of how some of the races also joined their faction.
Something I was confused about. Maybe I'm just being newbie here. Maybe it was something that was really obvious,
That's
but
fine.
I'd much rather ask than to not know. When they show you and I was obviously watching, and I've got the audio quite loud, but you showed the I'm gonna say they look undead because they look like a mage with long, scraggly hair with a staff in his hand, and you told me what they were.
Yes, well, they are undead.
Oh, that is the undead race.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
to my knowledge, this is undead. They've been.
okay. So, and behind that, they had like a stone-looking, yellow-looking, shining golem kind of thing. Is that a part of a mage spell, or is that?
Actually, that infernals, from my knowledge of
Infernal.
warlocks per se, as undead can be a warlock. So there's a difference between a race and a class. So from what I'm seeing from the cinematic, there is an undead who is actually a warlock, and he is casting an infernal spell. So as a warlock in World of Warcraft, you have these big cooldown spells, and to summon an infernal is a big cooldown in World of Warcraft. So there's different specs, which would be like a subclass or of some sort for warlocks. You have an affliction warlock, you have destruction warlock, and you have a demonology warlock, and each one of them do different things. So affliction warlock, which is what I used to main in raiding when I was raiding Mythic, relies on applying damage over time. Destruction Warlock actually relies on these fell charged spells to deal a bunch of damage, and Demonology Warlock relies on summoning like demons, imps, and other creatures to fight for them. So they have like a lot of these like basically like it's like a hunter, but not a hunter, because it has like pets that it commands, but at the same time it also has spells. So it's a caster, but he summons the presence of different essentially fell creatures.
Okay, so warlocks are essentially a kind of pet class.
They have their pets, but they're essentially yes.
Basically, they're a pet job, so they get themselves, and they can like summon some sort of like minion of sorts or pet or something, whether it be a golem or something else.
They can, right? But it's much more simple than actually being a hunter. So don't confuse the two, as hunters actually do have to give out commands to their pets and have a much more complicated system than a warlock. A warlock just summons something, and they have like a couple of spells. They work in a similar way, but they don't have to put that much effort into actually consistently commanding them.
So I imagine, for those who maybe did vibe with me saying like playing FF11 and stuff, it sounds like the warlock's more of a summoner in FF14. You summon, it dies and then whatever. And then in FF11 you had something called a Beastmaster, which sounds like it works. It's similar to like a hunter in WoW, where you can actually tell your pets to like attack, heal, or whatever.
Yes.
That's quite cool. But I wasn't sure what that was, because obviously, bearing in mind, we just started a brand new character. For those who don't know, we're Night Elves, and we've just been through like the Darkshore. But like, I haven't been to like all these other zones, and I haven't certainly seen all these other races and stuff like that yet. So I was unsure what this was, and I was like, is that some other race I'm not sure about, or is it an enemy, or I wasn't sure what it was. But cool though. I really liked the opening a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a classic. It's something that is very dear and familiar to so many people, especially people who have started playing World of Warcraft when this cinematic came out. So it's something that holds a lot of nostalgia
I don't know if I know much about Taurens yet. I mean, so again, I've played a bit of WoW Classic and I've seen them. I was Horde, so I went around these areas and then eventually, so I have, but I don't in terms of like my own like typical like lore and my new character. We haven't really kind of spoken about them. I think they were mentioned once or twice in a quest. I think weren't they? But they've not been really sort of touched upon yet. And I'm not sure if in another area maybe they will touch on them a lot more, or if that's just something I'm going to be waiting for later or something.
No,
Oh,
they
they do.
really
Okay.
do. They do a fantastic job at just covering all of these topics, but they are breadcrumbs. You actually have to go through from one region to another, spend some time there questing and figuring the zone out, and then you get like a big piece of lore that actually in the long run means something.
Where are Taurens from? Do I know that yet, or is that a spoiler? Or
I mean, it's not really a spoiler. I actually have never really played a Tauren, so I believe that they come from the Barrens or somewhere around that area, and they are actually one of the. If I could remember correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, for those of you who are watching this video and who know the Tauren lore, I think that they were one of those races who essentially didn't want to kind of be a part of the conflict as well, because
neutral.
Taurens are very peaceful, and they are very in tune and in touch with with the nature and with the spiritual world around them and whatnot. They're not much for, well, back then they were not much for like war and all these things. So I don't actually remember. This is the lore that I want to brush up on a little bit. But I think that there's something that happened, or the hordes just kind of helping them preserve their territories, or something that made them go like, okay, at least something good came out of this. So
maybe
it's
there's
not
some
always
sort of
black and white.
maybe it's some sort of bargaining on the Horde's end that they've done or something. Because I know, I again played WoW Classic. I actually played as Horde and played as an Orc, so I am familiar with the Barons, and that's literally on the outskirts, essentially, of Orgrimmar. Like I do know that, so it would make sense. And I do remember seeing a lot of Taurens there, but I don't know. Like you just you think that that's roughly like their home. So maybe it's one of those things where maybe one day I'll have to make a Horde character to understand a little bit about the Horde as well, just a little bit. But I'm really vibing with this a lot. I'm super excited. I can't wait. I don't know what where the expansions are going to go, and when, and certainly when a lot of these other races and classes and stuff like that were all like slowly introduced and things. But I'm guessing. So we Undead was always a natural class. A natural race at the beginning you could choose. Is that right as well?
Undead, yes, I believe that's true.
Okay.
So I wasn't there at the launch, but I believe that was always a possibility. Yes. I'm really enjoying this, and I love that we're taking our time, and I'm trying my best to help you recreate this journey as much as possible. And I know that we are always allowed to go into all of the expansions, but I also don't want us to just feel completely irrelevant, because yes, we can do the story, but I think that there's a little bit of charm in being able to do the combat properly as well, and get some spells and actually see them work. So I'm going to the best of my abilities, try and at least recreate some sort of simulation for you, so that you can experience everything on one character. As essentially we would need to level like 9 characters, then go through 9 different starting zones, and then 9 different expansions. I really don't want to do that.
We're not going to do that, no.
Yeah, I think that this is at the cost of being a little overpowered in certain areas, that this is probably the best thing that we can do for now. So that's the plan for us. And for those of you who do not know about our journey, you can find a link in the pinned comment of this video, as I'm going to link you the entire playthrough so far, depending on how far into the future if you're watching this. We may be well past Burning Crusade, hopefully. But at the same time, if you are just joining, do check out the previous playthroughs. We have like 5 videos so far. So I just say thank you so much for supporting them and for helping them really pop off on YouTube. The series is not something that I expected is going to be as big as it seems to be. for my channel, so thank you so much for that. And I really hope you enjoy it. Leave a like on the video. If you do, make sure to subscribe. And I think that in a few days we will be reacting to the Burning Crusade trailer as well. We're not going to be watching anything new until we get to the rest. This is best to stay on this timeline and recreate the story as it was. So I'm gonna try my best to do that. And if you have any tips on how I could do it, drop them in the comments. Until then, care and next time. Bye bye.